The drama surrounding Caitlin Clark and Taylor Swift has turned into one of the most defining cultural moments in modern sports. What began as a simple night at an NFL game became the spark that ignited a public reckoning inside the WNBA. A moment so powerful it exposed everything the league had been trying to hide. The world watched as the face of women's basketball sat beside the world's biggest pop star, and in that single image, the WNBA's carefully controlled narrative began to crumble before everyone's eyes. It was supposed to be just another NFL game. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Lions, Taylor Swift cheering on Travis Kelce, and cameras flashing across the stands. But when Caitlin Clark showed up next to Swift, the stadium's energy shifted instantly. Fans didn't just see two celebrities enjoying a night out, they saw the collision of two cultural juggernauts. One representing music's global power, the other symbolizing the future of women's sports. Within minutes, clips of Clark and Swift laughing together went viral. Hashtags like #TimeForSwiftClark and #Taylor and Caitlin flooded timelines, and every sports network, gossip blog, and entertainment site ran the same headline: Taylor Swift and Caitlin Clark steal the show. But behind the smiles and flashing cameras, panic was brewing in the WNBA offices. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, who had spent months trying to shape the league's image around collective unity, suddenly found herself facing the one thing she couldn't control. A viral moment that didn't come from her strategy, her PR team, or her marketing campaigns. It came from Caitlin Clark, and it didn't just highlight her star power. It obliterated every corporate message Engelbert had tried to build. Inside the league, executives scrambled. Calls were made, statements were drafted, and publicists debated whether to address the viral moment or stay silent. Engelbert chose silence. That one decision became the symbol of everything wrong with her leadership. Fans saw her hesitation not as professionalism, but as jealousy, proof that the league couldn't handle the fame of its own brightest star. For months, Engelbert had been quietly pushing the message that no single player was bigger than the league. But that night, the image of Caitlin Clark sitting next to Taylor Swift made it clear that the opposite was true. The WNBA didn't define Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark defined the WNBA. She had become a global figure, her name trending above the league itself. The story wasn't about women's basketball anymore. It was about a movement. Social media turned Engelbert's silence into a meme. Fans posted mock photos of her watching the game from her office looking horrified, with captions like, "When you realize Taylor Swift just did more for the WNBA than your entire PR team." Harsh, but true. The internet's collective voice became louder than any league statement could ever be. And as engagement soared, something remarkable happened. The Swifties got involved. Millions of Taylor's fans who had never watched a WNBA game flooded social media, posting highlight clips of Caitlin Clark, calling her the Taylor Swift of basketball, and tagging the league demanding recognition. The result was a storm unlike anything women's sports had ever seen. Clark's jersey sales skyrocketed overnight. Her Instagram followers exploded, and brands that once negotiated through the WNBA began reaching out to her directly. Nike, Gatorade, and even Apple Music reportedly began conversations about solo partnerships, skipping Engelbert's office entirely. The power dynamic had changed. For the first time in league history, one player's influence was bigger than the organization itself, and yet the league refused to embrace it. Engelbert reportedly held emergency meetings with her communications team, warning staff not to post or comment about Swift or Clark's appearance. The intention was to maintain neutrality, but to fans it looked like a deliberate effort to downplay the league's biggest moment. That silence became the story. Sports commentators mocked the WNBA for failing to ride the wave. One ESPN analyst summed it up perfectly. "Taylor Swift just handed you a global audience for free, and you said nothing." Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark herself stayed quiet. She didn't issue statements or comment on the viral storm. She just smiled in photos, thanked fans at games, and kept playing. That composure only amplified her appeal. She wasn't chasing fame, it was chasing her. And that authenticity was exactly what resonated with people. In a world of polished sports marketing, Clark's effortless magnetism made her feel real. But inside WNBA headquarters, reality was setting in fast. Sponsors who once relied on the league for visibility were now funneling their money directly toward Clark. Marketing data revealed a shocking truth. Caitlin Clark's name generated 10 times more online engagement than the entire WNBA brand combined. She wasn't just part of the league anymore. She was the league. As her influence grew, Engelbert's leadership was being questioned like never before. Reports described tension between players who felt Clark's fame overshadowed the league's mission of equality and others who believed she was single-handedly keeping the WNBA relevant. The divide was growing, and Engelbert's indecision only made it worse. By refusing to embrace Clark's stardom, she had alienated both fans and sponsors. Every day the league stayed silent, Clark's image grew louder. Then came the tipping point. Taylor Swift herself reposted a highlight of Caitlin Clark hitting one of her signature deep three-pointers with a single-word caption, "Legend." That post became one of the most viewed sports tweets of the year, racking up more engagement than the WNBA's official account had achieved all season. Suddenly, everyone wanted to be part of the Caitlin Clark story. Media outlets from TMZ to People magazine ran headlines calling her America's new sports icon. Even late-night hosts joked that she'd stolen the NFL spotlight from Travis Kelce himself. For the WNBA, the irony was painful. The league had spent years begging for mainstream attention, and when it finally arrived, it came through the one player they had tried to control. Sponsors noticed, too. Marketing departments shifted budgets overnight, focusing on Caitlin Clark as an individual brand. Financial analysts began calling it the Caitlin effect, a once-in-a-generation athlete whose cultural reach transcended her sport. By the end of the week, the truth was impossible to ignore. The WNBA had lost control of its own story. What should have been the league's greatest PR victory had turned into its biggest failure. Fans no longer looked to the WNBA for inspiration. They looked to Caitlin Clark. And Taylor Swift's influence had made sure the entire world was watching. Caitlin Clark had done something no commissioner, campaign, or marketing executive ever could. She made people care. She brought millions of new eyes to women's basketball not through corporate slogans, but through authenticity, charisma, and connection. The WNBA's attempt to contain her only proved how outdated its leadership had become. Cathy Engelbert wanted control. Caitlin Clark gave the world chaos. Beautiful, unstoppable, world-changing chaos. In the end, that's what this moment was really about. Not a photo, not a game, but a shift in power. The WNBA had spent years insisting that no one was bigger than the league. But Caitlin Clark proved otherwise. She didn't just belong to the WNBA now belonged to her. So what do you think? Did the WNBA blow the biggest marketing opportunity in women's sports history? Or was this the night Caitlin Clark officially became bigger than the league itself? Let's talk about it in the comments below. And if you believe Caitlin Clark's rise is rewriting the rules for women's basketball, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story like this.